Sorry, wrong button. Yes. So I'll start with a disclaimer. I'm not a functional programming ninja. I'm just an enthusiast. So I'll try hard to answer any questions, but yeah, I'm just trying to share my enthusiasm for this paradigm and how it can improve your programming skills. So, functional programming rocks. It's really a good thing, but why should you bother? You've been doing your job with the imperative paradigm or object-oriented, or so why should you be shifting to this, which is something new to learn and probably not even worth the time investment. So before I get down to the why, I'm going to talk a little bit about what makes a functional language different from the other programming paradigms. So a very important thing for functional languages is that functions are first-class objects. So you can assign a function to a language, to a variable. You can pass it as an argument to another function. You can have functions that return functions. And when you start thinking about it, that's something really powerful. So I'm sure most of you are proficient in JavaScript, and you've noticed that JavaScript is actually a language that enables you to implement a functional paradigm because functions are first-class citizens in JavaScript. Another very important thing about functional programming is recursion. Is recursion something that you use regularly in your programming, or you just go for the loops? Is it part of your toolkit? Something that, because for me, a lot of time now I go first to recursion before I use a loop, because I find it a more natural way to think about problems. And especially with certain data structures, for example, with trees or that kind of recursive structure, recursion solves the problem much more easily than going with your for loops or whiles or something like that. And another thing I'm going to talk about is partial application in functions, which I'll explain a bit later, but I think it's also a very elegant way of doing things in the functional paradigm. So we're going to start with what's first-class functions and how do they differ from functions in languages that don't implement that. And I'm going to start with map, which is in JavaScript is one of the methods of the array class, for example. It applies generally to any collection, so to lists, to arrays, to sets, whatever kind of collection data structure you have. And I'm going to show you a code example. I'm not sure why. Oh, so I'm just going to reload. Yeah, this page is scrubbed for some annoying reason. We can see the code. So
resize it back.
Yeah, that probably will do the trick. Yeah, thanks. Good shot. So this is one of those problems that we have to solve regularly. Let's calculate the VAT for prices. If we work for a business, we have to do something like this. And is that the way that most of you would solve this problem, or would you do it differently?
That's the standard way.
So you probably just go with the loop and iterate through the array, use another array where you would accumulate the results, and yeah, that's pretty much the imperative approach that you would take. I'm just going to run the example, and you can see that with UK VAT we have the right prices calculated there. And now I'm going to show you what would be the functional approach. and it does look more elegant, doesn't it? You have less lines of code. The code is more readable. You look at it and straight away, just by reading it, you can pretty much tell what's happening there. And we can see that